The Midnight Lantern. In the quiet village of Willowbrook, nestled between dense forests and rolling hills, there was a small, cozy cottage with a wooden sign that read, Milo's Curiosities. The shop was filled with oddities, dusty books, glimmering crystals, strange maps, and trinkets from distant lands. But there was one thing that made this shop famous, the Midnight Lantern. No one knew where it had come from or who had crafted it. It was just always there. It hung in the center of the shop, an old lantern with glass panels that shimmered with a soft, golden light, even though it was never lit by fire. At precisely midnight, its glow would grow brighter, casting strange shadows on the walls. The villagers had all heard rumors about the Midnight Lantern. Some said it could grant wishes, others claimed it had magical powers, and a few swore it was haunted. But the one thing everyone agreed on was that the lantern only glowed at midnight, and only for those brave enough to approach it. One chilly autumn evening, a curious young boy named Oliver wandered into Milo's Curiosities. He had heard the stories, of course, but had always been too scared to investigate. Tonight, though, something was different. It was the night of the Harvest Festival, and as the last firework fizzled out in the sky, Oliver felt an urge to solve the mystery of the lantern once and for all. Milo, the shopkeeper, was a kindly old man with a beard as long as his sleeves. He was sitting behind the counter, reading a book by candlelight, when Oliver entered. "Ah, Oliver, back again?" Milo said with a wink. "Looking for another puzzle to solve?" Oliver nodded, eyes wide with excitement. I want to know more about the Midnight Lantern," he said, almost in a whisper, as if afraid the lantern might hear him. "Why does it glow at midnight? What happens when it does?" Milo's face grew serious. He set his book down and stood slowly, walking over to the lantern. He gazed at it for a long moment before turning back to Oliver. "Some things," Milo said softly, "are better left to their own mysteries. The lantern has its secrets, Oliver, and those secrets have been here longer than you or I." But Oliver was not easily deterred. "Please, Milo, I need to know." Milo sighed, shaking his head with a small smile. "All right, my boy, you're braver than most." He handed Oliver a small brass key. "Take this. It will open the door to the cellar below the shop. Inside, you'll find the answer to your question. But be warned, there's a price to know the truth. It may change everything." Oliver felt a chill run down his spine but nodded. "I'll be careful, I promise." As the clock struck 11:30, Oliver stood in front of the small wooden door leading to the cellar. He could already see the lantern's soft glow through the cracks in the floorboards. His heart raced. There was something about the lantern's light that felt alive, almost as if it was waiting for him. With trembling hands, he unlocked the door with the brass key. The stairs creaked beneath his feet as he descended into the dimly lit cellar. At the bottom, there was a small table, and on that table was a thick, old book, its pages yellowed with age. The book was open, as if someone had just been reading it. The moment Oliver approached the table, the glow from the lantern above seemed to grow brighter. The shadows in the room stretched longer, as if the entire place was holding its breath. With one last glance at the book, Oliver sat down and read the first page aloud. "To those who seek the lantern's truth, know this. The light you see is not just light, it is time itself. Each flicker holds a memory, and each memory holds a choice. The lantern does not grant wishes, but it does grant moments of decision. Will you change the past, or will you embrace the future?" As soon as Oliver finished reading, the cellar door slammed shut behind him. He gasped, heart pounding, and turned to see the lantern's glow blindingly bright. Then, before he could react, the world around him began to shift. The walls of the cellar twisted and turned, and suddenly he wasn't in the shop anymore. He was standing in the middle of Willowbrook, but everything was different. The streets were empty. The houses were boarded up. The sky above was a deep, swirling purple. A cold wind whipped through the air. "Where am I?" Oliver whispered, feeling both lost and strangely familiar with this eerie version of his town. Then he heard it, a soft, echoing voice. "Oliver." He spun around. It was coming from the lantern, which was now floating beside him, glowing with a strange, pulsating rhythm. Oliver, this is a moment of choice. What do you see before you? The town as it is now, or the town as it once was? Suddenly, the lantern flashed, and the scene around him shifted again. This time, Willowbrook looked exactly as it had that morning, full of life, children laughing, the smell of pies baking in the window.